Welcome to Let's Get Metaphysical, the show that stretches you beyond your five senses. When you are looking for your next step on the path into the unseen, we've got you covered. Join epic adventure seekers and level up your game with your host, reality magician Allie Bierman.
Greetings, epic adventure seekers. Welcome to your guide to demystifying your world. I'm Allie Bierman, and you are listening to Let's Get Metaphysical, connecting heart and mind. If you've not yet done so, please rate and review our show. It's real easy to do on our show site, letsgetmetaphysicalshow.com. Under each video and audio, there's a series of buttons. One of them says, write a review. Or does it say leave a review? Anyway, it's obvious. Our review of the week comes from P11 Tampa Bay. And he says, connect with spiritual truth. It was wonderful to find a person who truly understands the ways of this and how to benefit from those ways. Allie Bierman's such a person. If you want to learn how to love life, listen to Allie. Well, thank you so much. That's my mission on the planet right now, and I'm grateful to know it's coming across to people. Today's guest, Bla Zae, personifies our epic adventure seeker, and I'll fill you in on that after a quick message. Life is either a great adventure or it's nothing. If you find yourself living the same stuck life every day, it's time to download my free quick guide, Step in a New Direction, and the link is in the show notes. Bla Zae is a songwriter with his own publishing company. He acknowledges guidance from the universe and added the skill of comedy, and then turned to the occult sciences. Host of his own podcast, The Left Hand Perspective, he attracts individuals who are on a personal path to self-mastery. He recently released a single called Now Is My Time, a song about living in the now and going for your dreams. We'll see if we can get him to share that. How? Okay, Bla Zae. You are definitely someone after my own heart, and I'm so incredibly excited to welcome you to our show today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Your energy is just like womp, womp. Let me ask, how did you get into music? That's where you started?
Yeah. So well, I've been a lover of music my whole life since I was a kid. And being in, let's say, like elementary school, I would be in choir. In fact, I did choir through elementary school, middle school, and high school, and then I went to school in college for vocal performance, but I didn't stick with it because I wasn't good with reading music. So I was like, my teacher, she taught us how to use our ear. We did a little bit of sight reading, but I wasn't really good at it. And if you're trying to go to college to pursue music, they expect you to know how to read music. Or if you really don't have a foundation with that, it's going to be really hard to move on, So it's like when I went to college, my ear was really good, but my sight reading was off. But everybody that I was around, their sight reading was on, but they didn't really have that good of an ear. So I was the opposite. So yeah, it got kind of hard. So I didn't really pursue it, but I played piano by ear. starting when I was like 15. And that was just something that really helped me, but I didn't plan on doing nothing with it. It was just something that I love to do. I love music. I love playing songs on the radio. That's what I wanted to do. But I would say 2015, I went to it was a music school. It was a music school in St. Louis, Missouri. It was called Extreme Institute by Nelly. It was a music business program, but it was also a recording engineering program.
Wow.
And I didn't know. Now I didn't know none of that. I just knew, how to play piano. I started on the music engineering side, and I was like, okay, I think I need to get into the music business side. Wow. And that's where I learned how to write music. I wasn't trying to perform. I was just trying to see, okay, I have a passion for music, but I don't know where I'm supposed to go with it. So I was just going in with it. That's where I learned how to write songs. And then about 4 years after that, I started writing my own raps and just started doing it putting out my own music. Somebody told me, if you want to, because I just wanted to write. Like after I learned how to write, I wanted to write. I found myself like, I think I might write for some people. It might be some singers. They might need some songs. I'll write some songs for them. I'm not trying to be in the spotlight or nothing. But there was a music A&R with a record company. He told me, well, if you want to be able to write songs for somebody, you have to be able to write songs for yourself. You can't you can't know another person's voice if you don't know your own voice. So I said, man, well, I'm gonna have to put out my own stuff so I can get out there, so I can learn my own voice, so I can help other artists to learn their own voice. And in that, I just started putting out my own music. And that was 2019 is when I really started writing my own stuff and put out my first single in January 2020. And the rest is history.
That's cool. And I realized that COVID would get in the way, but where you live, are there some kind of venues where, if not now, at some point you'd be able to go in and maybe have a live mic that you can be live?
Yeah, COVID, that really took a lot out of going to places. They do have some, I'm in Wisconsin right now, so but some of the venues are like an hour, maybe 2 hours away. But at the time when COVID hit, yeah, I wasn't even performing or nothing. And I'll be honest with you, I never performed music live except but one time. Comedy, like we'll get into comedy. I've done comedy a bunch of times, which helped me to prepare for music. But when 2020 hit, that's when I knew it was time for me to just start putting out music. But yeah, there wasn't too many places where around me where I could go perform music. Comedy, that's another story, but music, not really.
Well, I'm torn. I'm not sure where to go because I wanted to ask you if you'd share one of your music pieces, and then we'll jump into the comedy. Okay.
Okay. Oh yeah, definitely. So I got there's a piece I wrote called Never Give Up. I know things have been pretty shaky. I know you're feeling it lately, been feeling it on the daily. I know it's driving you crazy. People turning their backs and acting kind of shady. You putting in their work, but they still want to call you lazy. Feeling like you can't win, it's getting complicated. Almost like you're being blocked in, got you feeling barricaded. It's been going on for too long. I know you're tired of waiting. So make a move you can't lose, no more hesitating. When you're living your life, some will get bitter like a grapefruit. Be grateful. Don't miss your chance. Be great too. Quit looking for things outside yourself to validate you. It's your own path, even if you take a different route. And for the ones that aren't supportive of you, you got to X them right off of your screen. Click remove. Everybody's not supposed to understand your vision. Move in silence. You're the pilot. Make your own decision. Life's one big game, but don't be pressing your luck. Stand up tall, even if you fall flat on your butt. There's always another option if you ever get stuck. Stay humble, take precaution, but don't never give up.
Wow. I'm really moved and I get really emotional. That was extraordinary. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
my gosh.
thank you. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. It really moved me. So, oh, wow.
Thank you.
Wow. So going from there, jumping into what took you in the comedies, I think my opinion of comics is it's the toughest business out there because you have to be brilliant and in tune and with the times and know what your audience wants. And how did you get into comedy?
Well, just like music, music and comedy, those have been the two of my most favorite things since I was a kid. I would watch stand-up comedy, the late night shows like Jay Leno and David Letterman and SNL, you know, but like just like music, I never thought that there would be something that I would do. 2016, while I was in the music program, and when I switched from the engineering over to the music business, somewhere in there, I learned, I think I might want to try to do, wait a minute. No, this is where, okay, 2016, around that time, I went to my first comedy show. That's what happened. There was a comedian, his name JB Smooth. He was one of my favorite comedians. Me and my girlfriend at the time went to one of his comedy shows. And like I said, this was my first comedy show ever going to. Oh my God, he had the whole place laughing. Like, you ever laugh so hard, like where you just be slapping your knee? Oh man, it was amazing. And after the show, he was doing autographs and he was taking pictures. So I went over there and I got me a poster, and he signed it. And there was something inside of me. It was like it was an urge, was telling me, it was like, tell him you do comedy. Tell him you do comedy. And I when he was signing, I was like, hey man, I do comedy too. And he was like, oh, that's what's up, man. You gonna kill it. You gonna kill it. And we took a picture or whatever. But then on my way back to the car, while I was walking with my girlfriend, I was thinking to myself, like, what the hell told me to tell him that I do comedy? I've never done comedy a day in my life. Like, why did I, like, because it, you know, it's like I was really conflicted because, like, was I trying to impress him, somebody that I don't know? Like, why would I even say that? But I'll tell you this, when I got home, I started thinking about it a little more. I said, damn, I done told this man that I do comedy and I really don't. I guess I'm gonna have to try to do this. And the following week, I went to an open mic, and I've just been doing it ever since.
Oh my gosh, that's extraordinary. In my healthcare practice, my adult life, words come out of my mouth, and I know they're not my words.
Yeah.
But the words I'm supposed to speak to help somebody else. Sounds like that happened to you.
Yeah, that happens sometimes where I'll even ask sometimes it'll be some of the craziest things. Nothing like, I won't say like disrespectful or nothing, but just sometimes it's like, you know, the spirit puts something inside of you that you're supposed to say. And a lot of times you don't even know why you said it. You don't know where it came from, but for whatever reason, that's what's supposed to come out. And I think that was my spirit, or whatever you want to call it, God or whatever. That was that telling me, okay, you have to say this because this is what you are going to be doing. I didn't know it at the time, you know. Matter of fact, it took me a good week for me to try to figure that out. I'm like, that was not me. And then I just started doing it.
But that's so cool because you just let it come out, even though it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what the heck is this? What did I just say? But you
Right.
let it be,
I
and
didn't have
then
I didn't have I didn't have nothing to back it up. It's just
but the universe wouldn't have given it to you if it wasn't going to then show you how.
mm-hmm.
My gosh, you have such an exciting path.
Thank you.
I am. I know where I want to go in a minute, and we're going to take a quick sponsor break. If you are finally ready to get unstuck, it's not as hard as you think when you know what's keeping you stuck. 15 months on the bestsellers list at Amazon. And for the last 8 years, it continues to sell. It's a book that I wrote more than 10 years ago. I have never advertised it. It's a short read, and people are using it to change their lives. You see, you know what you know, and you know what you don't know, but you don't know what you don't know. And this book is what you don't know. You don't know how your brain and mind keep you stuck. And I created a very special offer for you, my epic adventure seekers, because it's important to me that you get out of your own way. So you'll see the link in the show notes for both the digital copy of the book and the audio that I made to go with it. And for you, it's just $9.97, and that link will be in the show notes. So getting back to Bla Zae, is there a short piece that you could share with us the way you shared that songs, or tell what kind of style or genre? Do you have one particular on? I have no idea how people write comedy.
Yeah, the comedy is interesting because it takes you a minute to find your voice and to find your style. I was always into the observational type of comedy, like let's say Richard Pryor. That's one of my favorite comedians of all time, and he's a lefty just like me.
Oh,
So that was one thing I was like, oh, that's why he think that way. Or what's his name? Jerry Seinfeld, another lefty. I was like, this is why
wow.
I gravitated towards y'all. So observational type of comedy, that's the kind that I do. Um I will say one thing when I as I started to get more onto my spiritual journey, you start to notice things differently. And I remember when I first started getting into crystals, and I don't know if you work with crystals, Allie,
Yeah.
but I keep crystals all around me. And if you like when you first start working with crystals, you go crystal crazy because you see, like the first time I went into a crystal shop, I'm like, wow, oh, that's amethyst. Oh, that's opal. And I just started getting all these crystals. You're supposed to take your time. You're supposed to have one crystal that you gravitate to. I didn't do that. I was like a energy junkie. I started going to rose quartz, Herkimer. I started getting all of these crystals, and I remember I took my crystals home. And I was like, I just got overwhelmed. I do not know what to do with all these. It looked like a mine, one of them gold mines in my room, just crystals everywhere, all around. I'm like, man, I do not know where to start. And with us, with spiritual people, when it comes to our crystals, we don't play about our crystals. You can't disrespect our crystals. These are not rocks. People want to call them rocks. No, these is crystals. Get it right. I got my crystals the first time. My brother came in my room. He's like, man, what you doing with all these sedimentary rocks? These is crystals. Get it right. Don't disrespect the crystals. Don't disrespect them.
Many years ago, I was following somebody he's not with us anymore. I'm looking for his book so I get his name right. I took a number of courses from him, and he was the leader on the brain and how the brain works and all the elements. And he had developed a technique called holosync. So it's a technical thing. Anyway, the reason I'm saying that is one of his courses, he gave an example of something not being alive. It was dead like a rock. And I wrote to him and I said, rocks are very much alive. And he never responded to me.
Wow.
So I used to make jewelry and sculptures and use crystals in my healthcare practice. And there's no question that they each have their own power.
Oh, yeah.
I had one person come to my home to participate in a book club, and she said, I want to buy this necklace. When the meeting's over, is it okay if I wear it? And she wore it, and then after the meeting was over, she took it off and she said, I can't buy this. It's making me hot. I touched that necklace and it was hot.
Wow.
It stayed hot for 2 weeks. So don't anybody ever tell me that there's no power. And I have many books, because I always wrote, this is the power, this is the reason you use it. And I imagine that anybody like an indigenous culture, they know all those, like the Native Americans in the turquoise. Just it's extraordinary.
I was gonna say, working with crystals though, that helped me to understand that I was an empath as well, which helped me when it came to music, and it helped me when it came to comedy. But I heard people talk about being empaths. I used to date an empath, but I never fully understood. And when I started, see these crystals right here, I got this. These was the first. This is part of the first crystals. The first day that I got them, so I got a piece of amethyst and a piece of kyanite crystal. These two right here are very important to me, because these were the start of my spiritual journey when it started going deeper. And everything has a vibration. The law, that's one of the laws of the universe. Everything vibrates. They have it might have a higher frequency, it might have a lower frequency, but everything, everything speaks to us. The rocks speak to us, the trees, the animal, like everything has a vibration. Even I'm looking on my desk right now, like I got a fake microphone that I hold around, which I'll explain that later. But even this fake microphone, it still has a vibration, So that's something that working with crystals really helped me to understand.
And I'm imagining, I know that different gems would call to me. So it's no accident that those particular crystals were the first ones that you chose.
You got a connection with those?
Well, I know amethyst is for connecting to your, trying to think of the word, it's not clairvoyance, but it's your spiritual aspect. I don't know the others. I used to know when I had my business actively, I used to know all the different stones. I know you have to be very careful with quartz, because it's such an energy conductor. It can pull in negative energy. So you gotta be careful how you're pointing it.
Oh, yeah, and I'll say real quick with the amethyst, especially not the amethyst, but with the quartz. I didn't realize how powerful it was until one day I started. I decided I was going to charge my water with quartz crystal. I had quartz in my charging my water, and I was so in tune that I started picking up on things that other people, what I'm thinking I'm seeing that nobody else was seeing, or that I'm feeling and nobody else was feeling. But really what was going on is those certain crystals being on a certain frequency, they will pull certain things out of you. So if you're going through, if there's some kind of trauma that that's been buried deep down, some of those frequencies will bring that up to the surface. So whereas, let's say if somebody was to trigger you and that comes out, you got to also take that into consideration when you, so it's not bad to work with crystals or nothing, but you got to realize like these different frequencies do certain things to you on different levels that you just got to be aware of. And quartz crystal, definitely it will amplify, it'll amplify certain energies, but that's what this journey is about. You learn, okay, what to do, what not to do, what to be careful. That's what I love about it.
I thank you for saying that, because I have everything tucked away, and I've had something going on physically that I'm pretty sure I know what the issue is behind it. And I need to pull out my crystals because of what you were just saying to get some, wow, that's guidance that came through your mouth from the universe for me. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
So, how did you get from the comedy into the occult? And would you share with us what occult science is? Because I've always backed away from it because I was afraid it was something dark. I have no clue what it means.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And I think that's why it was meant for me to dive into it and understand it, was because that word occult, when you hear it, we're programmed to believe that it's something that is evil, or that it has to do with let's say like devil worship, or doing evil things, even though there may be some people that use the occult in that way. But just how there are people, Christians that may use Christianity or whatever is meant for good, they can use that as, in the wrong way as well. But occult, really, it means hidden knowledge of the hidden. So it's when I first dived into it, let's say 2017, at the end, matter of fact, it was around this time, 2017, and you was the one that brought that to my attention.
Oh, I remember.
You brought that to my attention. I remember you hit me up. You asked me if November 2017 had any significance. That's how I know you tapped in, Allie, because
Really?
it did. And when you brought that to my attention, I was going through my little dark night of the soul from that time period. Because it's every time that you go through something, it doesn't matter how, it could be in this life, it could be in a past life, that anniversary will come up in some way, shape, or form, and you may have forgotten about it, but it's like your soul or your subconscious mind, it remembers everything. So sometimes there are things that happen that bring you back into that place. And you was on it, because this was last month. So I was already going through that dark night of the soul, going through that initiation of this new spiritual journey that I was going through. And there was a guy I saw talking about the occult. He wore like the Baphomet symbol, what people think is the devil, which it really isn't. There's just a deeper science to it. But when I first saw that, because of my religious upbringing and the way I was programmed, it scared me. I was like, oh, I'm not messing with that. I'm just trying, love and light. I'm just trying to be a better person. I'm not trying to deal with that. But then one day I asked myself, well, why am I scared of this? Where did that fear come from? And why was I told that this is evil, or that this shouldn't, who's telling us this? So it was in that time, November 2017, where I decided, I was like, okay, I came up to Wisconsin because I wanted to understand and know myself and dive into my fears and understand them so I can overcome those fears. Well, this is the big fear that I have. So I'm going to dive into this. I was still partially I don't consider myself a Christian anymore, but it's still a part of who I am because I grew up in the church. So it's like those principles are always going to stay with me. But it was time for me to expand my spiritual awareness. So I remember telling myself like, okay, I want to know the truth about this, even if it takes me back to the church. I want to know why am I drawn to this? Because I was drawn to it as well. I'm not gonna lie. As much as it scared me, I still wanted to know why. But I wanted to know, why am I drawn to this? Why am I so fearful of this? And what is this exactly? So I just started doing my research. I wasn't, I wasn't like I'm not doing no sacrifices or nothing. I'm not sacrificing no animals or nothing, because that's what you think it is. But it really has nothing to do with that. Occult means knowledge of the hidden. You got the word occult, OCCULT, and occult. I am not an occult. I am not in a, like, I would be the worst cult leader ever because I'm an introvert. I don't want to deal with nobody. I couldn't be a cult leader. I wanted to know what does this have to do with me? But occult is the knowledge of the hidden. There's a hidden world to everything. When we talk about occult and metaphysics, they're both connected. It's just words, you know what I'm saying? But it's the same. It's the same thing. You got the occult, metaphysics. What does metaphysics mean? Or metaphysical, beyond the physical. That's the same thing in the occult. Is the hidden part that's beyond this physical realm that we're dealing with. And yeah, the more and more I started to look into it, the more I was like, oh, this is just dealing with the hidden self, the hidden part of you, the subconscious mind. It's understanding the subconscious mind. That's what it is. So when you have, there's certain symbols, certain let's say spiritual systems, it's not so much as dealing with something that's outside of you. It's dealing with the deeper parts of you, the inside of you, the darkness within. And in order for you to get to light, because we talk about love and light, but really you can't get light out of light. You know what I'm saying? Like if I flash a flashlight in here, it's not really going to do anything because it's already light. So it's not needed. But if you're in the darkness and you flash that light, it's a big difference. It's much needed. So that is what the occult is in my because everybody has their own, what they did. But for me, it's to go into the dark part of yourself and understanding that dark part of yourself, shining light on it so you can go into the light. That's how I've seen it with everything, So when I started to understand that, it made it a lot easier to deal with music and comedy, because there's a hidden aspect of comedy. You have, like, for a comedian to be a good comedian, you have to well, I'll say this. When you see a comedian on stage and they're telling jokes and they're making people laugh, people are cracking up, you might think, and if you don't know what's going on, oh, this man is just funny. This is just a funny guy. But there's an occult aspect to why that comedian is so funny. You don't see that there's a certain formula to the jokes that he's doing. It's almost like mathematics. There's a reason why y'all keep laughing every couple of minutes or every couple of seconds. That's by design. He knows this. You know what I'm saying? There's a hidden world. You have to be with comedy. You have to know the room that you're in. You have to know the audience, which is dealing with your intuition. Every room, every place, like you can go into a room and you can tell if the energy is off, if the energy is good. This is something that you learn from comedy. being in a room. So let's say if you're doing comedy in a room that you've never done before, or a club that you've never done before, a good comedian will know, oh, well, I can't do those kind of jokes in here. I'm going to do these kind of jokes. Or a comedian will know how to interact with the audience, because that's a big part of it too, which I'm still learning. But that's the occult aspect of comedy. You know, let's say music. You write songs. There's an occult aspect of music with song form. If you don't know that there's a formula to music, like the top, let's say the Billboard top 10 songs, they're not just up there because it's just like, you know what I'm saying, just good music. There's a formula, a hidden formula to why they are on the top 10 billboards. There's a formula to why the music sounds so good, why it's hitting the way it is. Talk about song structure. There's let's say like the verse, you got the intro of a song, the verse of a song, the bridge of a song, the chorus of the song. You can't see that, but it's something, it's the unseen. That's the occult aspect of music. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like the more and more that I started to learn about what it is that they call an occult, the more and more I start to understand these different worlds: music, comedy, you know, even podcasting. With like us doing podcasts, there's a hidden world to that. You know what I'm saying? There's a formula to this. There's things that the audience doesn't see. That's what it is. I like looking at the unseen stuff. And that's what got me into the occult. It's not about anything being evil or, you know, trying to take over, like I'm trying to take over the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I'm just understanding the hidden meanings to things. And the more you see the hidden formulas, the more you're able to understand what's going on around you, why you do the things that you do, the habits that you do, what's going on in the world right now. You'll be able to see that the more you start to dive into that hidden world.
Thank you. I'm just recognizing all the formulas everywhere in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to be sure to hit on your podcast, and you said that you're an introvert and you're left-handed. And what I know from 25 years of my medical practice is anything going on the left side of your body, left-handedness, is coming from your spiritual side. So the fact that you have this extraordinary spiritual connection that you just described in really great depth makes sense. So you're probably more developed on your right brain too.
Oh yeah, right brain. I didn't really think about that stuff until like maybe about 3 years ago with like the left brain and right brain. It wasn't something that I had problems like learning as a kid. So some things I just never learned. So when it came to like learning with the brain, I didn't understand that. But a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, there's more to being left-handed than just writing, you know? And then I started to learn, oh, that means we're more left or right brain. Oh, the right brain is the spiritual creative. I was, oh, wow. Okay. And that's where I started to understand where it's more than just this. It's a thought process. And, you know, if you're thinking differently and everything starts in the mind, then that means that you, like lefties, will have a different perception of the world than those that are right-handed. You know, so that's what came into play with the left-hand perspective, which also like LHP or left-hand perspective could also be seen as the left-hand path, which again, people think is evil, but it's really not. It's just, that's the path of the self. The right-hand path is more the path of the group. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say the church, you get in, you're part of a church, all the group, we go this way. But then let's say when you get on your own personal path and you're trying to find your own way, you go the other way. And that's the left-hand path. So it's not like it could get really deep. I try not to make it too deep, but it's, for me, the left-hand path was the path of, finding yourself and just going against the grain from what you're told that you're supposed to do. So that's how I came up with the left hand perspective, because I always seen the world differently from people around me. So instead of feeling like I had to hold in those thoughts and talking about spirituality and crystal, all of this woo-woo stuff, well, I wanted to make a platform where I could talk about it, and where people that feel like if they're the black sheeps of their family, if they find it hard fitting into most social settings, then this is somewhere that we can all, that podcast is geared to you, where you don't have to feel like you don't belong. I don't care if you like UFOs, your voice, like you, whatever it is that you like, whatever you're passionate in, what you're drawn, that matters, and that's what makes you you. So that was what was behind the left hand perspective.
It's like I'm having so many wows. When I was a little kid, I noticed that my dad did things with his left hand. My mom did things with her right hand. So I started doing certain things with my left hand, certain things with my right hand. My dad was brilliant artist and creator, and he was an entrepreneur. And my mom, man, she could run anybody's business, and it's everything that you just says, like, falls into place perfectly.
That's the perfect that's like the perfect pair right there, because he was lefty. He was a lefty.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh man, so you got the left you got the left brain and the right brain working together, and that's really what it's all about. And what I started to learn, even though I'm a proud lefty, we have a left and a right brain. We don't just have like one hemisphere as your whole brain. So the more I started to learn about being a lefty and the being of that, now I'm learning how to unify both sides and be in the middle, walk the middle path. Sometimes you got to walk the right hand path or the left hand path, but eventually you're going to have to come into the middle. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you call it, the Vesica Pisces, you're going to have to do that,
And people don't realize that you don't really function separate one side from the other, but there's a lot more things fire on both sides of the brain.
Yeah.
Some years ago, a brain researcher, Dr. Jilbo Taylor, she had a stroke. And because she was a brain researcher, she knew she was having the stroke when she did, and wrote as many notes as she could before she lost everything. The bleed was on the left side of her brain. So the left side of her brain wasn't functioning well for a long time. And by going in to the right side, she discovered spirituality that she had never known before, which just confirms everything that we've been talking about.
Wow.
So what I tell people is, when people say the kingdom of heaven dwells within, yeah, it's on your right side of your brain.
Yeah, it's all up here.
Yeah.
All up here. I love that. I would say that's another thing when it came to the occult, and why I wanted to talk about it more. And I know one of my missions here is to demystify a lot of things, and that's what comedy does, actually, is to take these different concepts and to talk about it in a way with humor, or something where somebody can relate to it, where it's like it's that relation. And that's how I wanted to do with and I purposely call it the occult, because I know, like, it's such of a powerful word that as soon as you say it, in your mind, whoever's listening to this, even you, in your mind, it's already going to what you previously thought the word is. And it's your job, well, it was my job, to understand, okay, well, where did that thought come from? Where did that thought come from? Why do I feel this way about it? Why am I so scared? So it's like, by me even invoking that word, it made me go deeper within myself and to know myself and those hidden parts of myself more and to understand my fears. And then when you're able to do that, then you're able to understand the fears on the outside. So I purposely, sometimes I'll tell people like I'm an occult comedian, or I do it purposely because I know that it's going to trigger something, and either you're going to run away from what I'm saying or you're going to be intrigued to learn more. That's exactly what the occult does. Takes something that's hidden, or takes a concept and you hide it, and you have to be willing to go in to understand it, to unlock that truth of what it really is. So that's why I'm not afraid of that word anymore. And that's why I say it, because I know exactly who I'm dealing with. I know, like, if I say it, how people are going to react, if they're going to run away, or they don't want to like me, or if they get scared, or if they tell me a little more about it. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly why I do it, because that's part of that science.
See, I'm not afraid of it anymore, and I was definitely afraid before today.
Yeah.
So, as we get ready to wrap up, is there a message? I mean, you've said lots and lots of stuff. Definitely changed how I'm thinking. Is there a message you particularly want to leave with our listeners today?
Don't be afraid to be yourself. I will say that. Everybody has you came here with a purpose, and your purpose, it's not always going to line up with those that are around you, but it's still your purpose. And you have to go down that road. And a lot of times that people are not going to like you for going down your path. They're not going to agree. It's not going to it'll be like mixing oil and water with some people, but it's meant for you. And it's okay to be different. It's okay to go against the grain. It's okay to not go with the crowd. You're being led by spirit to do your purpose. Your purpose is going to require you to be in certain circles and to stay out of certain circles. It's all okay. Just be you. Follow your own path.
Thank you so much. It's your clarity. I love your clarity, and you're so articulate in explaining it. What is the best way for people to reach you, or to see your music, or follow you, or get your podcast? Will you give me all those links?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely give you the links that people can check out the music, the podcast, The Left Hand Perspective. So you can even Google that. It'll come. I'm so glad they changed that in Google, where you can put in The Left Hand Perspective. My podcast comes up. So
oh wow,
Left Hand Perspective podcast. I also have a YouTube page called The Left Hand Perspective. That's where you can find the music on there. I got a couple of videos that I did with the podcast with the guest on there, but I'm focused on audio right now. But I know I got to show my face a little more. But the Left Hand Perspective on YouTube. I'm on Instagram mostly. That's where I found my spiritual tribe, is on YouTube. Occult Comic 33, OCC ULT 33. That's where you can find me. And if you're not on social media and you want to reach out to me, you can hit me up at lefthandperspective1@gmail.com. lefthandperspective1@gmail.com.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. I absolutely enjoyed today and look forward to talking with you more in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on.
Remember, everyone, to join our Facebook group, ask a question, make a new friend, stay up to date with what's happening Be a member of our podcast family. Download your guide to step in a new direction and take advantage of the very special offer, the What You Don't Know. You don't know, and change your life. All the links will be in the show notes. And I wish you a week filled with blessings. And remember to enjoy. That's capital I-N, capital J-O-I, exclamation point. Enjoy every moment, because the only way you actually experience life is within.
You've been listening to a talk on the wilder side. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Get Metaphysical. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a single episode, and while you're at it, please leave a rating and review, and be sure to share it with your friends. Tune in every Monday for more exciting insights and wisdom on life beyond your five senses. Until next time, take a small step in a new direction. Start now.